everybody. Chris Luther here with the Chris Luther Real Estate Team, and we're here Friday Night Live at EXP. And so today we are excited to have David Frost with the David Frost Real Estate Team with us. And so we're going to be talking to David a little bit. You know, obviously with Friday Night Live, we try and bring you guys in to see a little bit of our EXP world and not only what we do, but also some of the agents that are in the company and why they come to the company. So we can talk a little bit more about, you know, what EXP is all about and why so many people are making the move over to our brokerage. So we're excited to have David to talk to today. David, welcome to the show and glad to have
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So I guess we'll kind of jump right in. Maybe just tell the audience a little bit about, you know, who David is and how long you've been in real estate, and kind of give us a background on you.
Yeah, so awesome. I've been in real estate now almost 7 years, and I'm a team leader for a small team. I have 4 other agents that work with me on my team and a full-time admin. And yeah, so we are out of the Jacksonville, North Carolina area, and we're one of the top teams out of the area. And yeah, we just moved the EXP in May. So May of this year, we moved over, and yeah, it's been quite a ride. Very, very impressive impressed with EXP, and we're very excited to be here. So great move for us.
Well, you know, you're kind of a unique situation because, you know, what I tell people often when I'm talking to about EXP, I bring you up on occasion. And, you know, one of the things that makes your story pretty interesting is that you are actually a recruiting agent for one of the traditional, basically in our market, the largest traditional brokerage model for over 20 years. And so, you know, to go from that perspective, unpack that for us a little bit, tell us, obviously you were doing that, and that's kind of when you discovered EXP and decided, and I'm not going to tell the story for you, but kind of give us that progression of how that came about.
Yeah. So, okay. I was hired on as basically the director of business development for one of, the number one company in the Wilmington and I used to say Eastern North Carolina. And I was brought on away from my sales team for a while because my wife also was on the team. So she ended up taking over the team. I went into that position, a salary-based position, and was hired to, basically do some training stuff. Also, one of my main roles was recruiting and helping the managers at all the different offices they had talk to agents and recruit them or kind of get them over the hump of coming to join the company. So I did that not real long. I chose to step away from that. But while I was doing that, when I first came on board, I thought it was pretty important for me to really dig into the competition. So I dug into all the other models, the real estate models, Century 21, which is very similar to Coldwell Bankers. But I mean, Remax, Keller Williams, EXP was one, so I started digging into those, and I would take a couple of days and do that for each model. And that's how I stumbled across EXP. It was EXP was the model for the weekend. Basically, I did it on a weekend, and all the videos I kept watching and the things I kept researching, I kept looking at it. Like, there's no way that this is right. I mean, there's something there that is, that's that fine, print somewhere, and
too good to be true, right?
Yeah, right. So, I mean, I just kept digging and digging and digging. And then I got almost a little bit obsessed with it a little bit for like probably a good week. I mean, that's all I did. I'd get home and I'd watch videos, and, my wife was just like, what in the heck is wrong? Because that's all I'd watch would be EXP videos or YouTube or I do that a lot anyways on real estate and things like that. But I mean, it was over the top. I was crunching numbers. I was, looking at our production and I really researched this. I would probably say almost 3 real months before we made the decision to move. So it was not a spur of the moment as like you're a top team, you're a business. And that's how I take our team. We don't just make moves, just we think it's better or something, we kind of research it, do the numbers. look at it from every angle. And that's what I did. I really researched that for a while, and it just couldn't be beat. No model can beat it. And I think, knowing what I know, being of the recruiting job that I did, you know, it's almost like politics. I say it's like, you got to try to spin it the best you can in a lot of models in order to recruit, right? EXP, it's hard to compete against. So as you and I both know, they don't compete against the model. They basically compete. A lot of the brokerages will compete against the agents who have left, like, well, their production is down, or they're not looking to sell anymore, or they never were a top eight. It's not about the model against their model. It usually ends up being something with the agent. And that's because, as we know, the EXP model is really hard to beat, I
Well,
think.
yeah, and I think along with what you're talking about there, I think one of the biggest differences is that, you know, with a traditional brick and mortar, you're being recruited primarily by the staff and the leadership there. Whereas with EXP, it's such a different model. You're actually being recruited by agents that are already in the model. You're not getting calls from the management and things like that, because that's the model is, designed in such a way that it's agent centric, and the agents,
Yes.
see the benefits and the rewards out of it. And naturally, because of some of the perks that they get as well, they go out and they do the recruiting. And so
Mhm.
that's part of why the model, I think has been so successful. So,
Absolutely.
so, let me ask it to you this way. Let's, I know there's a lot of traditional brick and mortar, stuff out there, and we're kind of the new kid of the block, very different model.
Yeah.
And agents don't know what they don't know. So for somebody that's watching this right now and says, well, what is it about EXP that makes it so sexy? I mean, what is it different about EXP that you don't see, I guess, in the traditional brick and mortar, for somebody like yourself that was
Yeah.
actually in there recruiting for those and has looked at all the models?
Mhm.
What set EXP apart from the traditional model that we all are kind of accustomed to?
Great question. And I think that's what most don't ask. Even ones interested in EXP or any model, they're not like, okay, what is different between this one versus others? And I think a lot of people get stuck on commission,
Mm.
as the main sticking point. And I think, from the EXP perspective, I would say this: EXP allows you, or provides each agent other opportunities to scale their business and profit from it, aside from only one pillar, if you look at it. So if you go to any, most real estate firms, what do you have? You are the real estate agent. You sell real estate, right? So if you and I, Chris, want to get super wealthy, we just got to sell a lot of homes, or, lists like in California or something where you sell five and heck, you make, 300, 400,000, right? But I mean, ultimately you just got to keep selling to make your money. And then you got to invest wisely. And some people do. There's a lot of agents who maybe
Sure.
invest in the stock market, or got a 401k they do with what they make, but ultimately, EXP allows each agent the opportunity to have a couple pillars to their business that you will not get in any other firm, any other model that I know of. There's going to be firms out there that allows you to have more commission. We're going to give you a 90% commission, or 100% commission minus transaction fee or something like that. But ultimately, it still requires you to sell and just keep selling,
Mhm.
right? As you and I know, we've got a couple of pillars, which is the stock option. You can either take it right out of your commission every month, or every, not every month, every transaction, which my whole team does. That's at 5% with the discount. And then that starts, adding up. And then, you have the awarded stock. Obviously, you became an icon agent. So that's extremely awesome. So you've got awarded
Yeah, I mean, I
all
think,
the money
our
back,
first
right?
year, I mean, just in stock awards, not buying a single piece of
Right.
EXP stock, I
Mhm.
think I picked up almost 30 grand worth of stock in my first year.
Mhm.
I mean, for doing the business, I would have done any other brokerage model. So that in itself, like, if you
Right.
do nothing but just change brokerages, you're putting that EXP is putting that money back in your pocket. So,
Yes.
and creating that automatic kind of retirement plan for you,
Right.
and it's totally optional for you to invest in it. So,
Yeah.
that's one of the things that you're talking about there. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, absolutely. And I think, for me, I'm a little older, obviously, I sat here and I just looked at every year my team sold a lot of houses. We sold a lot and I made very good money, right? I can't complain on it. But ultimately, I just knew like in 10 years, where am I going to be at? Am I going to still be just having to sell 50, 60 houses myself
Yeah.
every year after year after year, and then have to be smart with everything I do. And, you know, and then I looked at EXP. It's like, okay, even if I just want to do that, if I just want to sell forever till I die, I still am awarded things from EXP for stock options. And no matter if I buy into it or anything, take anything out of my commission every closing, if I don't do that, I'm still awarded some things that I would never get in a different brokerage. Never. So that's how I always try to tell agents, where are you at now? Okay. How much, are you getting any stock? No. Okay. What's your commission? Okay. If your commission is less than 80-20, you're going to make more money with us. Do you pay a franchise fee? If you pay a franchise fee, you make more money with us. What's your monthly fees? If it's more than $85, you're going to save there. So like, I just try to break it down that way. And every way you look, most of the other models are not going to be better than ours. They're just not. And of course we have the rev share, about, which is excellent. Your friends come over, right? If you know somebody, hey, come on over. They come over to EXP. They sell something and you'll make some of that back to you. EXP is going to pay you in the first tier about 3.5%. I think it was the annual gross commission.
Yeah, it's kind of like being an insurance agent. You renew that policy every year, and essentially what you're doing until they're capped, you're getting money off of their deals, and it's not costing that agent. It's
Right.
coming out of the 20% that the company's getting. So, between that and then the ability to cap, that's the other thing is like a lot of these traditional they don't give you the reward of saying, okay, hey, when you do this much of business, you're going to get 100%, the rest
Yes.
of the year.
There's no promotion,
No.
and I'll tell you, I was sitting, and I tell the story a lot. I may have said it before, but I was sitting with a Remax agent and I was trying to recruit him to the office or the company I was with. And he looked at me and he said, I have a hard time paying rent forever. And I looked at him like, what the hell is he talking about? And I said, what do you mean? I don't understand that. He says, listen, I come over, I'm a $5 million producer by myself right now. And I'm going to get 80-20. That's the highest I can go. Right. I said, well, it's not the highest, but yeah, you're going to have to hit a bonus level to get 2% more, or 3% more. It's 2 or 3, but you still got the franchise fee and in order to get to that bonus level, you're going to have to do significant more production. You're going to have to do like 150,000 more dollars of income that you make, not commission, but income. And he was like, that's paying rent forever. I don't see a promotion ever in my future. Even if I sell 100 homes, I don't think I'll ever get that extra $150,000, especially in our market here. It's not gonna come to you. So after I left there, I started thinking about that, and I thought, man, he's right. Like I've been at that company for 3 years, and we've been a top team there, and I'm still where I am. Same split, same franchise fee, and I've done more and more almost every year, and that's it. There's no promotion, no light at the end of the tunnel of kind of besides just sell, sell, sell. That's it.
Well, and I think, and there's a lot of differences and similarities across companies, of what they provide. And, much like yourself, when I started analyzing stuff, I was like, here I am paying 6 figures to the big brick and mortar between, my commissions and the 6%. And I'm like, what am I really getting for it? And yes, there are things that they offer, but, they weren't geared for me. They were geared maybe for a newer agent. Some of those probably got some use out of that. But you know, the CRM the company provided was not good. You know, there was just, the list goes on. There weren't really things that my team were using. So I had to go above and beyond to pay for things for myself and my team
Mhm.
that I felt like the brokerage should be kind of, co-oping with us on, that really didn't line up with what we wanted to give to our clients. And so,
Right.
and again, not that EXP provides all of that,
Mhm.
but let's just look at KV Core, for example. I mean, an agent can come over to EXP, not spend a dime on their website
Mhm.
or their CRM, and be up and running in a day
Right.
with a very robust system that can do whatever they want it to do. If
Mhm.
if they want to do something else, that's their choice and that's fine.
Right.
But it's there. They've really gone in, I think, from an agent centric standpoint, said, what, yes, here's the great model, but what do we need to provide our agents? And so, I think that's, a great perk for the agents.
Mhm.
But yeah, so you touched obviously on the stock program, the revenue share.
Mhm.
Um, what else, kind of really caught your eye that kind of was non-traditional about our brokerage?
Well, I think from and you just mentioned like KB Core. I think that's something that even for me when I talk to agents, I forget about those things sometimes. I'm so excited about the stock and
Right.
potential rev share and just the capping that I forget. Like you said, like EXP offers the KB Core. And for you and I, we both know these lead gen systems are really expensive for agents who are newer out there who don't realize it. I've got Boomtown right now. I like Boomtown because we've been successful. So I kind of maybe a little superstitious. I stay with it,
Yeah.
but ultimately it's expensive. You're talking, 800 to, depending $1,500 a month, maybe,
Yeah.
right? With how many leads you want, how big your team is or whatever. But ultimately you can join EXP, have KV Core. And if you want to do pay-per-click ad or have them do pay-per-click ads, you go from, I think, 250 to so many leads to $500 a month, which is still really cheap. But again, you don't have to do that.
Yeah. It's totally optional. Yeah.
It's your option. But if you look at it from a perspective of an agent, not with EXP and they're really wanting to get more leads, they're going to pay the 800, 900, $1,000 a month to get the same amount of leads that you're going to be able to get KV Core for way half of the cost. So that helps agents and or starting agents. I mean, when I first started, I'm like, how do I get leads? I don't understand any of this stuff. So if I would have had EXP, then I would at least had KB Core. I could did some Facebook ads. That's cheap. And, or I just paid $200 or whatever. I think it's 200 or 250 for the lowest pay-per-click piece. And I get 30 leads a month,
Yeah.
buyer leads. So, and then we have what I think is really, and I don't know, you probably agree here too, and you probably talked about it, really underrated is our training that is available to you. Now, that's the opportunity to take it. Some people, you've been doing real estate a while, and Chris, and you've had a very successful team. You still do, and you train them, well, obviously. And I feel like I do too, but sometimes agents need more training than hearing it from us all the time. And EXP, I mean, I just researched it just like last week. I mean, daily there's over 10 classes. And I say over 10 because sometimes there may be 15, 18. I mean, but definitely they're always at 10 or more classes a day for an agent. And that goes from KB Core to lead gen to EXP World, figuring out how to maneuver through that. I mean, it's
Well,
just
and what you're talking about there, like you said, I had just finished reaching icon in my first year. And
yes.
so, as part of that, the cultural requirements to get your money for being that EXP icon, which is great. They give you a couple options, and I actually chose the you have the option of one of them is to actually teach a class. And so what they want their icon, which is their top agents in the company, they
Right.
want them to give back to everybody else in the community. And it's great because like I enjoy it. So now like I'm just now getting ready to start teaching my first class in December,
Yeah.
and I'll teach that class. Like I'm basically teaching a class on budgeting and planning for your lead gen and expenses. And
Nice.
so that was a topic. Like I looked through all the topics. They have an icon series is what they call it. And so
Oh,
what's happening is, like you said, is in that world, in their training, you go to EXP University, and agents can go in there and sit in the auditorium. They can be in their pajamas at their house,
mhm.
listening to somebody in California that's a top producing agent,
Right.
talk about how their business is so successful. And they get to hear from not only just the company agents on programs and things, but they're actually learning from other agents in the business that are successful and why they're so successful. And it's a very sharing culture. And to have that on demand, like I'll teach that class, the same class once a month for 6 months. And so, that's just part of it, but it's a great opportunity. And like, I'll go in and I'll listen to some of these icon series, but they have panels, they have vendors come in, things like that. So, and again, if you don't catch it live, they record most of this stuff, so you can kind of go watch it on demand as well. So it's just a great, and like you said, everybody wants to say they train and everything, but you can go in and see the schedule like on demand and say, like you said, there's almost 20 classes a day. And
Right.
oh, by the way, if there's a conflict in your schedule, go back, click it, and you can watch it over. Now you can't, you won't
Right.
be able to interactively participate, and that's part of
Mhm.
it too. Is with the technology that we have. Let's say, I'm up there teaching the class, and somebody's in there listening to me. Well, they can sit right in there, click on their microphone, and ask me a question.
Yep.
It's not just like, oh, I'm watching this, and when he's done talking, it's over. Like, it's fully interactive, and I think you get a better learning experience out of that. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, it's the training. I think it kind of takes it to the next level with our
I
class.
agree. And I think it's the most underrated because, and again, the competition, what we always hear is, they don't have EXP, you're kind of on your own, or you don't have any oversight or training. Nobody's there. You got to be an avatar and all this, right? Even I thought that. I really did. I thought, until I really started looking into it, I'm like, man, this is so not what I initially thought. And this is crazy. So, you got to put in perspective a few things. If you're at an office, you take a look at like when you have your office meetings, because every office has meetings, office meetings. It's usually the same agents that show up, if they do show up. Some don't, right? And the um, the training is very small. You may get a window of 20 minutes, maybe of a class during that meeting, right? But the realistic piece of that is most agents don't go to those meetings. They'd rather do training on their own time, wherever they can be or whatever. And again, EXP's model fits that for most agents. And I think, you don't need to be there, like you said, in person, right? And we know that agents aren't there in person anyways. Like they just aren't going to these meetings. I know in the offices I've been at, it's always been the same 10 people. We may have 60 agents, there'll be 10 people. It's 10 of the same agents always there, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, and you and I were at the same place for a while, and it was where, we'd get that call begging us to come in and sit because they wanted more people to come in. Well, if you got to chase me down to do some training, and for me just to attend, just for you to have a body in a seat, why are you training?
Right.
If you're not providing enough value for your agents, like I said, people are only gonna get something out of something that they're interested in. I kind of,
Right.
equate this to, my kids and them playing with video games versus going to school, and the effort that's involved there,
Mhm.
and they're like, well, I have such hard time, paying attention. I hear that all the time, in
Mhm.
class. I didn't get it. Well, I said, well, you didn't have a hard time paying attention to the TV when you wanted to play what you wanted to play.
Right.
And so,
Right.
but the concept is there is
Sounds
like,
like my
okay,
house.
give me a broad range of things that I can, go and learn about. And
Mhm.
if I want to go do that, then I'm going to be more engaged. And so I
Yep.
think that's kind of where we separate ourselves in the
Mhm.
training world with what EXP offers, and the fact that it's not just a staffer up there just, feeding you stuff and slides or whatever. It's actually real agents like yourself that have
Yes.
been in your shoes and now
Mhm.
have taken their business to the next level. And I think that's just,
Huge
I
point.
think it's just more productive in terms of what you're going to get out of it. So Like
Yeah,
that.
I think, I mean, you made a huge point right there. And then I'm gonna give a little caveat to that. And it's gonna sound a little rough, but it's really the truth is, um, the difference in EXP is you're learning from agents that are doing the work. Like most of the people that are obviously icon, I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. That, you should not take that lightly of, and I know you probably don't, but
Sure.
ultimately people got to understand. I mean, you've got to do a lot of production and know what you're doing. And you are extremely knowledgeable to help other agents in their business, you know, and then I go into the caveat of sometimes, and I heard another EXP agent say this, most of the managers that are there are very knowledgeable in a lot of places, but a lot of them haven't been doing real estate for a long time. I mean, in the sense of them selling, right? Like they've
Right,
actually,
right.
they've been at the level of Chris here, Chris Luther, of selling as much as he has. They may have never even been there, but based on their knowledge of just real estate in the sense of, contracts and some of the paperwork wise, they're in a salary job as a manager, which is great.
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with that. It's just that with EXP, you are learning from agents that are pretty much doing it every day. And their businesses, when they're at the icon status, their businesses, they know what they're doing. It's not a fluke. It's not like one good year. They've got to really have something they understand about the business, and it's significantly a huge achievement. And another piece I think EXP that's very underrated, and I don't think people really understand it, is you can partner with who you want to, right? So like if you want to, like, it's like how we talk, if you want to partner with one of us at EXP, I'm always going to push anybody to you from the Wilmington, even Hampstead up probably that way. I mean, just, you need to go to Chris's team. Chris is the guy you want to go to. And I know you've done that with me with the Jacksonville area.
Right.
You can partner with who you want, in order, it just makes it a lot different, than any other office. You're stuck with, if I'm going to Johnson Realty, I'm at Johnson Realty, and I got to go to that same office every day. And the people next to me are always going to be the same people. I don't really have any other mentor or other opportunity to learn from a Chris Luther,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, and like you said, you have the ability to run your business the way you want to run your business without having somebody, that broker in charge or whatever at that office that's franchised, telling you, kind of navigating you along the way and telling you how you need to do this, how you need to do that. And again, and maybe I shouldn't say it, but I don't think EXP is right for every agent.
Right.
I mean,
I
my
agree.
my philosophy is, if you're a brand new agent
Mhm.
and you're not joining a team, like, EXP is not the right place for you.
I
You
agree.
know, because you probably need to be in that in the building every day setting where you can kind of pick your brain, stuff like that. Now, not to say you couldn't do that with ours,
Right.
because you do have the world. You can go in the world every day and talk to people from all over the world about real estate and pick their brain
Right.
and do that kind of stuff. So if you're motivated enough as a new agent to do that, then maybe EXP is the right place for you. But I think there's a misconception, and maybe I'm different. There's a lot of people that join real estate just for the social aspect. I mean,
Yeah.
you've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
it when we go in the building, and like, you know, there's a set of us that are they're going into the office, they shut the door, they're doing work. And then
Mhm.
there's another group that just walk around every day and they're just talking, not really working, they're just talking. And again,
That's right.
that's probably not the best example, because those people aren't usually doing much business anyway. But so if you're
Right.
joining a real estate firm for the social aspect of it, EXP is probably not the place for you.
Right. No,
So
absolutely. I agree. I think, in real estate, everybody, it's hard. It's one of the hardest industries, I believe, out there. And I think it's kind of underrated that way. People think, oh, it's a lot easier than what it is. And then when they get involved in it, they realize it's not. And I agree with you that EXP, based on the model, you have to be a self starter. You have to have the discipline if you're new and not deciding to join a team. right?
Yeah.
So you've got to understand that things are going to be kind of remote for you. The training's, going to be online, on the virtually and things like that. And you got to invest in scheduling yourself and doing it and things like that. But ultimately, if you feel like you're going to need more mentorship and more structure, you should join a team within EXP, because then it's like you have everything. Then you have the mentor, the team leader, and their structure, their systems, the way they do things, their training. And then you have the EXP backing as well, which is all the training they provide, and KV Core, and all this other thing. So I think
Well, and here's the thing, people don't. This is a part of the model I don't think they see either, is because and you and I were in the same position at the traditional brokerage, but you know if somebody's coming in new and they're going to start at EXP, we obviously would recommend them joining a team, something like what you or I have, because here's the deal. That's the way they fast track their success.
right.
But then if they get to the point, whether it's 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever that time frame is, and now they say, you know what, I've learned a lot on this team, but I think I'm ready to go out on my own, or maybe I want to start a team. Well, guess what? In that traditional brokerage, that connection is separate, like all of a sudden. But now in EXP has created a situation, and I know you've seen it now, where we can be the cheerleader for that person on our team that wants to give themselves a promotion and go out and try and
Right.
do it for themselves, because now we're still connected even though they're off the team, because it makes sense for us to help them succeed, because they're still in our revenue group. They're
Right.
still a part of our system where we can help each other. They can grow their biggest, and we can be their biggest cheerleader. And so, I
Yes.
don't know if how much you've kind of dealt with that, but I know, that's not the way it works in traditional brokerage. Like, you
Mhm.
lose all the training. There's no reward on the back end for somebody running a team,
Right.
and there's no incentive for that team member to help that person once they leave, where it's completely flipped, in our model. So I don't know if you want to touch on that at all as well.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think you said it all. It truly is. Everybody in the EXP model. When you're working together and you're partnered, everybody wants to help each other get better. I mean, like, I can reach out to Kyle Whistle in San Diego. I've talked to him a few times. This guy, his team's selling, 300 houses, 400 houses a year. He's very smart on systems. Anybody in EXP is willing to help, even if you're not in their group, is what we call it, or partnered with them. But everybody's willing to help each other. But I mean, like you said, if somebody wants to leave your team and and create their own team, yeah, we're going to help them do that, because everybody's got a leg in the game. They're all trying to help each other, because EXP does provide the rev share, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's the same as managers of traditional brokerages. They internally want to have agents do well and sell a lot of real estate, because they also get a bonus for that. The company pays them based on commission, sales in that office. So it's just that a lot of the managers are just, they're overbooked with things, meeting with agents, recruiting, dot loop, or reviewing files, dealing with drama. There's so much going on there that it's hard to say, come on in, Chris, let's sit down, let's go over a business plan, and I'll teach you how to follow scripts, or I'll teach you this. It's just hard for them to do that as often it probably needs to be.
Yeah.
At EXP, it's not going to be that hard as long as you're in the right group. And if you're on the right team, you're going to get more attention than you ever would being on your own in a traditional brand. That's just the truth.
I mean, I always tell our agents, if you're organized and hungry, then you're in the right place, and you're gonna do fine.
Mhm.
I think that's the two, probably, for the successful agents that we have, those are probably the two traits that I see more common than not. They have the desire, and it's kind of like, I got to do this, or I'm going to be in a tough spot.
Right.
And they have some kind of, confidence is probably that third one. And that sometimes for some people is a built trait. It doesn't necessarily happen out of the gate, but I think the more they're around a team member, or the more that we start getting those deals, that they grow confidence, deal by deal. And I think for us to be able to fast track them in a team setting, I think that makes a lot of sense for that new agent that wants to maybe consider EXP. I think that's probably the direction. But since we're talking about that, so I know we've kind of bounced around, touched on a lot of different things, but if somebody right now that's listening, is thinking, maybe I want to learn more about EXP. I mean, what would your suggestions be to them on at least like a place to start? Where do you think is kind of the, we don't want to throw too much at them and overwhelm them, because it is a
Right.
very different model,
Yeah.
but for them to understand, because that's the thing is, like, they're probably hearing stuff around their brokerage office about us, and they're hearing it from people that don't know the model
Oh
themselves.
yeah. Right.
And so they're hearing things that are not accurate. And so where, I guess, for a starting place, do you feel like, you would kind of take an agent listing right now and say, hey, here's how we need to introduce you to the company so you can learn and you can ask questions? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would always first say this: go to an EXP agent, first. I mean,
Yeah.
ask that agent, right? Because I don't know how many people I've already talked to in a short amount. We've only been here since May. I've talked to a lot of agents, and every one of them seem to have been getting information from a Remax agent or different agents that have nothing to do with us, right? And they need to really first contact an EXP agent or leader like you, myself. There's several in our area. I think that would be number one, because we can definitely answer the questions they may have, and directly right from the model where we're in the model, and then two, the technology nowadays for me, like that's what I did. All I did was research. I just went to YouTube. I really did. I went to
Yeah.
YouTube, looked
There's
at.
tons of stuff out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now that's all I watch. I don't even watch live TV anymore. Matter of fact, we just canceled all of our live TV just like 2 weeks ago. Got rid of it all. All I watch now is either live Hulu, if I want to
Yeah.
watch, news. So that's what I use that for. That's it.
Yeah.
But
I do
everything
too.
else is kind of YouTube based. And now I can pick and choose what I want to watch. And that's what I researched. I just went and, put in EXP, and then you'll see all the people who have done videos on it, who broke down the model or whatever. And some things have been updated here and there, but ultimately, you've got Brett Gove out there who does a lot of that. He's got some good videos out there of information. There's a bunch of agents out there. Kyle Whistle's one, Jay Kinder. I mean, there's just a bunch. AJ Mata's one. There's a bunch of agents out there that, what is it? Freeman. Is it Cliff Freeman? I think it is, or Clint. Yeah. But I mean,
Yeah, I think so.
there's a bunch out there that's all they do videos. They've done so many on it. And that's all I did. I just watched those videos, broke things down. And then of course I went to the, EXP website where it gives the information as well. You can find out all the
Well, I
information.
think, yeah, and like you said too, and another place I think alongside what you're talking about with calling the agents is, we have the ability, David or I can, if anybody's out there listening, we can get you a free guest pass. I think you
Yep.
do it like 2-week period now,
Mm-hmm.
where you guys can actually go in to EXP World, and you have to create your avatar. It's kind of cool. It'll take you about 5 minutes to do,
Mm-hmm.
but then you can walk around the world. You can go see all the training. You can sit in and learn. You don't even have to be an EXP agent to learn.
Yep.
That's one of the things that was kind of, I didn't really think about when they were, teaching me in the icon thing, about, because I had to go through a class to be one of the instructors, is they said, about 30% of the people that will be in your audience for your class
Mm-hmm.
will be non-EXP agents that are
Oh,
coming
wow.
in to learn about
Hmm.
the actual thing. So they actually have data, because it's cool. It's like, in the XP world, and and I just learned it last week, is that there's a little, it'll have your name over top of your head and everything, but there's a color of your name, and if it's blue, you're an EXP agent. If it's orange, it means it's EXP staff. But if it's green, it means it's somebody that's a guest in there that's like, checking out the company, whatever. So, you're in there with other people, but that's, you can go in there and you can just ask random people. You can go to the offices, you can go to tech support, you can go kind of check all this stuff out yourself. If you're a
Right.
North Carolina agent, you can jump into the North Carolina office, talk directly to a broker in charge in that office.
Right
I mean,
in there.
there's it's all at your fingertips. And so I would encourage, above and beyond, like you said, talking to agents, then jump in the world, talk to more agents, talk to agents, not here locally, but all over the place, and just, kind of pick their brains, and then go into some of the trains and see what's available, because it's kind of like a free trial. You get to go in there, test drive it, and see what's going on. You can actually, if you're interested in the KV Core, for example, there's an office you can go actually talk to somebody, a representative from KV Core. They can tell you all the capabilities of that CRM. Just anything that's tied in with our company, you have access to. So.
No, good point. That's excellent, and absolutely, you can use that, and any of us could give you the pass for the 2 weeks. But I think, yeah, those are all great points as far as extra ways to figure that stuff out. So, I mean, it's there. What I would also like to, kind of make a point of, if you really look at it, if you go to a traditional office, you have a broker in charge, and then you have some agents that are there, but rarely will you have the ability to find out information so easy with a bunch. I say a bunch, with a multitude of ways to find out. Like you just said, you can go to the world, you could talk to an agent, you could talk to a broker charge of that state you're in. Somebody's going to be there to answer your questions. Or you can go to your team leader, or another maybe EXP agent you partnered with, or you can go to the broker in charge of your office that's actually in your like, I could go on and on and on and on. You just have all these abilities, right, to get the answer you need. If not, if you don't get it from, let's just say, your broker in charge. Most offices, you may ask an agent like, oh, I don't know, that's a good question. I've done it this way. Doesn't mean that's the right way. So, and then your manager may not be there for half a day or something. So you may not get that answer you need. And again, even if you do, XP provides an answer just as quick, if not quicker. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I would say most times it is quick.
I mean, because that's another myth that I hear a lot is there's no structure. There's no, there's nobody that you could just go down the hallway to and say, hey, Chris, I don't know, which is not true. If, it depends on how you're structured. If you're by yourself, you're going to have to go to the broker in charge and get a hold of them like you would in any office. And
well, you also have the workplace chat. I mean, let's say you're out at a house and you had a question, that you weren't sure about or whatever. Obviously you can't jump in the world right now. I mean, I think they're in process of that, being able to have the world right there on your phone anyway. I know there's a couple of places you can already access it, but they also have what they call work chat, which is basically the Facebook platform for business. That we have our own company platform, where if you know who your broker or whatever, you can go right into workplace, type their name in, and basically send them a message right inside the work app, and they can answer right there.
And
they
referrals.
Oh, I mean,
Every day.
it's amazing. Like I sent one yesterday. I needed somebody to sell a piece of land up in the mountains. Like, no, I can't do that, but I can find
every day. There's referrals going in and out of the workplace and things, or different groups that you're a part of. The group I'm partnered with, they have their own Facebook group, and there's constant referrals going through there, constant, daily, probably 20 a day. So again, that's something to look out for too, is, you get referrals as well.
So what, and we're going to wrap up here, but one of the questions I think I'm going to end on is kind of, talking about that agent that may come in and say, it all kind of sounds good, but, Coldwell Banker or Keller Williams, they're kind of the staples in our community, and I feel like I need to be with a big brand. And that, and all these sales and everything. Like, I mean, I've got my own rebuttal to that, but I think that's something that we hear a lot, because even though it's the fastest growing brokerage in the country right now, EXP is still something that people don't know a lot about.
Right.
So, to that agent that says that's like, kind of battling with that conception of brand versus kind of, a lot of stuff and more money and all the other things that go with it. What would you say to that person that is kind of struggling with that?
Well, there's a bunch of things I would say is, although number one, I'd break it down this way: is if it was an agent in my market, I would say I'll print off the MLS and show you how much production all these little independent companies do. So like, and then I put it in a scenario as this: if the number one company is this big, 700 agents, and doing production, that's great, and doing a lot of production, but they got a lot of agents as well. Remember that. So you gotta, if that company's still losing business to all these little independent companies, how strong is that company really? I mean, you got to think of it that those little companies should be out of business then. If the consumer thinks it's that important. Does that make sense? Like if Johnson Realty is the number one company over here, but you have all these little independents over here who do production all the time, list and sell, then that brand probably is not that big of a deal because they're still in business and there's a bunch of them. Right. So that's how I'd separate that. Right. They're still getting listings. Yeah. They're still selling. They don't have the agents that this brand has. Yeah. Over here, there's 600 or so. There may be 30 here. Right. Yeah. And I think you have hit it. Me and you have you and I have talked about this before, is just because it doesn't mean bigger is better and their numbers are going to be bigger, but they have a lot more people. They have a lot more budget. EXP is centered on the agent itself. So don't get focused on the big brand as much as you get focused on yourself and what EXP can provide you individually. That's the difference.
And that's the thing. And it's funny to me, I have agents that, and not talking about new agents necessarily, but agents that have been with a company for whatever. And we have a conversation about EXP and then they'll bring up, okay, well, but I'm kind of scared to leave the big brand, because it's such a prominent brand and that's what the people know. And I always ask them, I said, well, let me ask you a question. I said, how many listings has your company walked in and handed you? Well, none. Okay. I said, so you're telling me that every listing that you've ever gotten, you've gone out and you've gotten that listing because of who you are. Nobody handed it to you. And they're like, well, yeah. And I said, so what's the difference? I said, because, I said, yes, on occasion I get asked, okay, I've never heard of EXP. And I just simply say, oh, really? I said, well, that's funny. I said, you're traded on the NASDAQ, publicly traded company. We're the fastest growing brokerage in the country. Right. I said, and when I tell them that, they're, oh, okay. They don't really know the differences, but when you tell them that, like, oh, well, it's almost like, oh, well, I should have heard about it, but it's right. But at the end of the day, it's you selling yourself. It doesn't matter if you have your own brokerage or you're with the biggest firm, around. And I think that's something that you saw value in coming from that and even being that recruiter for them. Like, okay, it doesn't really matter. They're going to tell you and I don't want to use the word brainwash, but they're going to tell you over and over that, it makes a difference because yes, we're number one in our market. Well, that's great. But you know what? That doesn't mean that you can't go and better yourself and make more money and plan for your future with us better than you can just because, it's more about the company there. Yes. And EXP, I think, is more about the agent. I think that's the biggest difference that you see with our firm.
That's huge. And that's what people have to break down is really the numbers. And you gotta, and that's what's, that's part of marketing. So they're going to market, hey, we have this many sales and everybody else has this many right down here. Yeah. But ultimately that doesn't equate to every agent. It equates to probably out of the 7, maybe 50, 60 are really, really the ones pumping those numbers out. The rest of the agents are not. So, you've got to be focused in on your business as an agent, not a company's business, right? The company is marketing the company's success based on all of the agents within that company. EXP is going to be focused on you as an agent and then allowing you to brand yourself and or your team and your business. That's what I love, man. My signs have my team on it. And then EXP's there. Yeah. But it's not like a big company and then Frost team. Small up here, it's way different. It's branding you. And that's what ultimately each agent's got to look at is it about me selling houses and or making money? Or is it about the company saying all these numbers, but really I'm a small piece to that. And, I'm not really getting anything from that. So EXP provides each agent the ability, again, I said it before, is in the beginning, the opportunity to make money in a couple different ways that no other company can give you. And, even when I was going to leave, we broke down the numbers, and I don't have to sell as much. That's what's funny too, because we've heard this, Chris, is, they're selling, their numbers are down. Well, that's not true. We know our numbers aren't down really, but even if they were, we don't need to sell as many houses being with EXP that we do in a traditional. We don't have a franchise fee, right? Both of us have capped already, so I can sell probably 15 houses less and make the same amount of money EXP that I was with my other firm.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind.
Well, and that's the thing, so it's kind of a 360 approach. There's a lot of things, obviously that we unwrapped today. And as we finish up, I always want to ask, our guests, if somebody out there is listening right now and, has questions for you, about, anything EXP or, why you made your change, things like that. I mean, or if they want to dig down deeper with you, what's the best way for them to reach out to you directly?
I mean, really, I'm a big texter. You can just text me, at my number, 910-670-1554. I mean, you can email me, same thing. I'm all over. So that would be the best way to get a hold of me. I don't like to take a lot of calls. I like to text and keep moving,
Right.
But ultimately, if you want to email me, or call me, that's fine. That's where you get a hold of me.
Sounds good. Well, David, man, we appreciate your time today. And like I said, just wanted to kind of, let everybody know that's interested about EXP, kind of a little bit more about that and kind of bring them into our world, tonight, and just kind of let them kind of hear directly from the horse's mouth, what EXP is all about. So appreciate that. And guys, anybody out there listening, feel free to reach out to David or myself. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you have and talk to you more about EXP anytime. So
absolutely. David, thank you, Chris. Appreciate you.
Keep on selling, brother.
All right. You have a good weekend.
You too, man. Take care.
Later.